Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. This is our Manchester United versus Tottenham preview in what is a massive game for Manchester United. Both teams have got 7 points, but there is a bigger story than that. There's some pretty scary stuff about Spurs this season. Did you know that they're number one for crosses? Did you know that they're number one for take-ons? Did you know that they're only second in the league for shots? I mean, there is an underlying, I said it a couple of weeks ago, at some point Spurs are going to give somebody an absolute tonking, and it could be Man United on Saturday. I've got to be honest, coming into this game, I feel flatter than a worm's tits. I really just don't feel confident, inspired, excited. And the problem with that is, of course, is that if the players are feeling the same, which they shouldn't feel the same, because they're the reason that we feel like this. The manager is why we feel like this. They've got to, they've obviously got to deliver in a game like this. But I just, you know, normally I try and be upbeat, but there are reasons to be upbeat. If I'm being honest, you know, we're third in the league for corners, I suppose. We'll go through all that anyway. Look, tempo is what we're going to have to bring because they've got to, they've put themselves back in a position again where they've got to inspire. It's at Old Trafford. Spurs shouldn't be coming to Man United and giving us a good hiding. And I think if they did, I mean, God knows where we'll be on Sunday night. Lots to get into on the show. As always, I will reveal what I think should happen. We've got an interesting poll going on in the live chat, actually. If you're watching live, get involved. If you're not watching live, just get your comment in. The title is Drop Bruno and Ahmad for different reasons, really. I don't think Bruno's got any chance of being dropped, but probably deserves to be dropped. I don't think, I think Ahmad might get dropped, but probably doesn't deserve to get dropped. So, hence they're in the title. But you can choose your wing combination. Garnacho and Ahmad, Garnacho and Rashford, or Rashford and Ahmad. Vote for that. I can tell you at the moment, Garnacho and Ahmad is winning with 54%. So, this Rashford thing seems to be a problem. And as Malik says, Rashford was good yesterday, though. Lots to get into. And as I said, some really interesting stuff about Spurs. If you're thinking Spurs are going to be a pushover, they're literally not in the right position in the league. They really should be up there, you know, level with Arsenal, in my opinion, and have dropped some silly points. They were very good at Newcastle and lost. They were very good at Leicester and drew. And they probably, you know, should have got a point out of Arsenal, if we're being honest. But look, let's get into it. Before we do that, we're sponsored by Manscaped. Big shout out to Manscaped. If you don't know what Manscaped is, precision engineering for your family jewels. Yeah, trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. But it's more about everything else. It's male grooming, and that's why they've got the Beard and Balls bundle, the ultimate grooming package featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger. This bundle has you covered from top to bottom. As you can see, this is the lawnmower. It's got a light on it. Very, very powerful stuff. That sorts you out down there. And you got the Beard Hedger, which has got 20 different lengths on it. I use this regularly. If you want to keep a bit of stubble, you can get working away with that. Fantastic products delivered to your door. 20% off and free worldwide shipping. They are a game changer in your midfield, which is what we were hoping Agate is going to be as well. Well, the Manscaped Lawnmower will be. Links in the description. Elevate your grooming game today with the Beard and Balls bundle and join millions of men worldwide who trust Manscaped. That is an exclusive code, TUS, 20% off, and you'll get free worldwide shipping with that as well. Big shout out to Manscaped, of course. Right, well, look, let's start off with the game. Yeah, I mean, where do you start? I mean, I want to be positive. Look, let me just start off with some positive stats around Manchester United this season. XG this season, we're third in the league. We were 10th last year. Shots on target were 4th in the league, 8th last year. Shots conceded were 6th in the league, 19 last year. Interceptions were number 1 in the league, 11th last year. And possession won in the final third. We're 4th in the league. We were 10th last year. So, look, honestly, you can't just be negative. I'm going to bring some positives, and those are positives. There's no two ways about it. There are genuine improvements, and I think only an idiot would say there's not genuine improvements. It's just how much of an improvement it is. I've already said this. I can see, specifically Crystal Palace last week, there was a lot to be positive about, even though we drew. But ultimately, it's going to come down to results. And, you know, if you draw 10 games, you're getting the sack. You're 10 games unbeaten, but you're getting the sack. If you draw 10 games at Arsenal, you get the sack. If you draw 10 games at United, you'll get the sack. You can't take 10 points from 30. It's crap. But you're unbeaten. So unbeaten, stats, etc., they can all give you a vision, but you've got to get results. And that's where we are with Man United at the moment. We've got to get results. Now, the interesting thing about this Spurs game is, before I talk about that, is we've both got 7 points. But I've seen a lot of Spurs games this season, and I don't really like stats, and this makes me not like stats even more. Because I said on the podcast a couple of weeks ago to Will, I said Spurs at some point are going to batter somebody. Because a couple of weeks ago, Ange was under pressure after that Arsenal loss. Because they weren't in a very good situation. They had 4 points, didn't they, from their first, 3 or 4 games? They obviously went and beat Brentford last week. But there is an underlying concern about Spurs. Their tempo is very good. They've just not been putting the ball in the back of the net. They are second in the league for shots. They are second in the league for shots, only to Manchester City. They are first in the league for crosses. They are first in the league for one-on-one take-ons. They are first in the league for corners. And they are second in the league for touches in the penalty box. So, number 1 for crosses, number 1 for take-ons, number 1 for corners, second for shots, and second for touches in the penalty box. What does that say to you? Well, it says to me we've not had much of the season yet, but it also says they create. They create quite a lot. And that worries me a little bit because Spurs are going to create chances at Old Trafford. And how we approach this game is very, very, very important. And on top of that, if you want a little bit more bad news, in relation to shots conceded, they're second. They don't concede many shots either. How Spurs have had this bad start to the season, I just don't know. But they are very, very, very creative, not putting the ball in the back of the net enough. And they don't concede many chances, but teams have been clinical against them. So it's a concern. It's a concern. Whatever improvement we're making, we can't talk about improvement from United, but we're not getting the results. And then not acknowledge that Spurs are playing better than us, but not getting the results as well. So it's a clash of the two teams that are doing a lot of good things, but aren't getting results. And I look at Spurs and I worry at the weekend because how he sets up that midfield is going to be so important because they run with the ball, they create chances, and if we make Old Trafford, a car park, and there's loads of spaces in it, they're going to absolutely park their cars, numerous cars, in our goal. And we can't afford that. We've got to be compact. We have to be compact in this game because if we're not, they're a very good team. So don't think that Spurs are coming. Don't look at the league table and go, Spurs have had a bad start to the season. There is an underlying. I watched them against Leicester. They never should have drew that. I watched them against Newcastle. They never should have lost that. So they took 1 point from 6 there. They should have had 5. So should have had 6 from 6. They're a team to watch out for. And I think it's going to cause us issues if we don't set up in the right way. Lucky this is at home because Ten Hag can't buy a win away in London and also only 1 win in the last 9 European games. Shouldn't ignore these patterns, says OG. Well, no, you shouldn't ignore these patterns. But I think that we've got, we've got a game at home. I couldn't give a toss about Europe at the moment. Well, see what happens. I'll talk about Porto when we play Porto, but to be honest, we might be talking about Spurs for a long time if we get our arse handed on a plate. I'm worried about this game. As I said, my confidence is flatter than a witch's tit. I don't know. I've never understood that saying either. No, witches don't even exist. But I meant I'm flatter than a worm's tit. But I really do look at it and go, I just don't know what to expect. I think if we'd beaten 20 last night after a good Palace performance, I'd have been more confident. But what I learnt last night and what we all know, and I feel very silly, to be honest, for not acknowledging this before, is you can't trust this United side. You just can't trust it. So you never know what you're going to get. Per Mike Keegan, Manchester City won their legal battle with the Premier League. No, they haven't, Zoltan. Stop spreading false news. It's a vote about something else. That court case is going to run for 3 months. Educate yourself or jog on. Stop scaremongering. In fact, you're getting removed for that. That's not what's been said. There's some votes that Man City have won, but it's got nothing to do with their court case. So just chill out and jog on. We're talking about Man United against Spurs. I can't be arsed with scaremongering. Like, just... I feel if we started Garnacho, Højlund, Ahmad with Bruno dropped and Xerxes in, we'd have more success in the final third, being more direct, says Jack. Look, let me talk about this team on the left here. Right, so this is the team I would pick. I don't think he's going to pick this team. This is the team that I would pick on Sunday. It's not going to be the team that you would pick. In fact, I know it's not the team you're going to pick because 26% of you went with Rashford and Garnacho as wingers, which is what I've gone with. 19% went with Rashford and Ahmad, and 55% went with Garnacho and Ahmad. So the vast majority of you want Garnacho and Ahmad to start. That's called democracy. But this is the team I would go with, and I'll show you what I think Ten Hag will do in a moment. Obviously, you've got to pick that back five. You know, you've got to go Dalot, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Martinez, and Anana. I mean, look, just very, very quickly, I don't mention this journalist because I think he's a prat, but his player ratings for last night, he had Maguire as a 6, you know, another assured performance from Harry, who's trying to win his place back in the starting 11. And then he had Ugarte at 5. And I'm just like, no, I don't see that at all. I mean, Maguire nearly conceded a goal for us from that Dalot cross. And his attempt at a tackle on the goal was absolutely traffic cone-esque. So, yeah, I'm not going to not call it out. This nonsense British press again, trying to push Maguire back into the starting lineup. This is why we fail. We've got to pick this back four. Absolutely. I mean, the way we played out from the back last night was shite. So, yeah, definitely go with that back four. But I think it's the midfield, really. Mainoo's got to play. I think even in the 15-minute cameo, you saw the quality of Mainoo. His touch, his athleticism, his speed. Mainoo's got to play. There's absolutely no doubt about that Mainoo's got to play. Bruno is going to play. Should we drop Bruno? Well, I'll let you get in the comments about that. I think we've had that conversation enough. It won't happen, for one. And I don't think it should happen, for two, because why I wouldn't do it is that who's going to captain the team in a game of this magnitude? I know Bruno's a problem. He is a big problem at the moment. But I also know when Bruno doesn't play, we become even less cohesive. So I'd start him. Obviously, I'd be saying the same. If he has a crap game, you've got to take him off. And whether that happens is another matter. But I'd certainly start Bruno, which leaves one spot in the midfield. And honestly, I would go with Ugarte because we are playing a team that is number one for many attacking things. So we're going to defend a lot. And let me just read you this. Tottenham against... who did they play last week? Well, we'll go through them all. Tottenham against Leicester, 71% possession. Tottenham against Everton, 71% possession. Tottenham against Newcastle away, 66% possession. Tottenham against Arsenal, 64% possession. So this is a team that's going to have a lot of the ball. And this is a team that is basically top for shots, crosses, dribbling, touches in the box, corners. They're going to attack. They're going to attack. It's a fact. If we have more possession than them and more shots than them on Sunday, I'll be very impressed. So let's lay that marker down. But they're going to attack, 100%. And I know that. Now you know that. And Erik Ten Hag knows that. So if he puts Eriksen in the midfield with Mainoo and Bruno, I think this is absolutely the biggest red flag you can buy. It's literally bringing the lube. It's walking into the Tottenham dressing room and with a big box of lube, and they're saying, lads, have one each. We'll be ready for you on the pitch. Yeah, it absolutely, it would be. So you've got to start Casemiro or you've got to start Ugarte because you've got to put... Kobbie Mainoo is not a defensive monster. He can put a tackle in, but he's not a defensive monster. If you play Mainoo and Eriksen and Bruno in your midfield three, you're getting eaten up for Sunday lunch. They're having a Sunday roast. Literally. Like, we are going to get absolutely done. So you've got to throw in somebody with defensive capability. and that's got to be Casemiro or Ugarte. I mean, I would say there is a case to say, and I don't know what your thoughts are, that we do just maybe end up counter-attacking in this game. I don't want us to, actually. I don't think we should be doing that. You know, we're Manchester United, and we didn't do it at Crystal Palace last week. So I don't think we should concede the ball, possession and depth, but we might end up doing that naturally. And what I don't want to see happen is you start... Look, this is how I would line up very, very quickly, and I'll come back to the front three in a moment. But this is what I think he's going to do. So I don't think we'll see Ugarte, and I want to visually represent this. I think we'll see Eriksen, right? So we start the game like that, yeah? And we're trying to get on the ball. We're trying to create chances in this new United, okay? It goes wrong. Spurs do what Spurs do. Lots of the ball, lots of chances, lots of creation. Suddenly, you've got Bruno, Mainu and Eriksen defending a lot. Cutbacks, people taking them on. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. Like, you're walking into the trap and then you stood on the sideline going, you know, like a rabbit in the headlights. Like, you've got, for me, all right, Eriksen's playing well. Mainu's got to start. Bruno's your captain, but one of them's going to miss out to bring some defensive stability to that midfield. One of them has to miss out for me. Now, if he doesn't do it and we win the game, that's why you get paid the big bucks, 100%. But I'm just saying we're walking into it. We're walking into it. Antonius says, what about Eriksen, Ugarte and Mainu? Well, look, that's a consideration, but I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he will drop Bruno. But, you know, I'm not saying you're wrong with that. And then the front three, I've gone Rasmus up front because Spurs play a high line. So with a high line, Xerxes dropping deep will end up in our penalty box. They play a high line. So you want somebody who's going to play on the last man with a bit of pace. So Rasmus, for me, probably would start this game regardless of who we're playing. In my opinion, Xerxes' confidence is not where it needs to be. And I just think Rasmus, if he's ready, should start. But absolutely nailed on, he should start against a team that plays a high line. And they play a high line. And fair play to Spurs, no matter who they play, they do it. So, you know, you've got to play somebody who's going to play on their last defender. And Xerxes, as we know, doesn't necessarily want to do that. So Rasmus has to play there for me. Rashford on the left because they play a high line and you want to try and get in behind it when you can. And then it's Garnacho or Ahmad on the wing. And I just feel that Garnacho needs to start. I just think even when he came on last night, things happen when Garnacho's on the pitch. And I really, really do like Ahmad. But I think I want to start Garnacho in this game. Look, what I would do is I would go for the strongest team I could put out to win this game of football. And I feel that Garnacho just has to be in the team at the moment. He's the one player that we've got on the wing who just consistently makes things happen. And he's got to start. And I need to win the game. So that's how I would line up. Do I think he will do that? No. You could play Rashford as a striker, as Daz said, and he might end up doing that. But the trouble with Rashford as a striker is I think he'd get absolutely bullied by Romero and Van der Ven, who are physical. And it's all right saying Rashford at striker, but why are you playing Rashford at striker? Because he's quick. Are you playing him at striker because he can hold the ball up? Are you playing him at striker because he can win a 50-50? Are you playing him at striker to run the channels? Are you playing him at striker to, you know, play other people in? No, you're playing him up front because he's fast. Well, I'm sorry, so's Van der Ven. So the one thing he's good at is going to get swallowed up by Van der Ven, you know, and all you're going to be able to do is hit the long ball. So for me, Rashford up front is a bit naive. It'll work against Barnsley. I don't think he wants to play up front either, which is a great point. But these are good centre-backs. You can't just put a quick player up front and go, that's going to work. There's other things to the game in relation to how we want to play. But look, difficult decisions need to be made. I just worry about that midfield. And I worry about the underlying factor. You know, Spurs are like a wounded animal, really. They are. all the stats point to the fact that they're actually way better than their league position suggests. They've just not been able to put the ball in the back of the net. And when I think about this game, I look at it and I go, I actually do believe that this game's going to have goals in it. Logically, it doesn't make any sense that this would be 0-0 or 1-1. I think there'll be goals in it. And the problem with that is it could be goals that go against us, more than one. I don't normally do this, but I'm actually really worried about this game. I think it's got so much on it. I mean, every game for United is going to have so much on it because we can't get a rhythm going. So you're always going to have the Ten Hag outers, I suppose, the Ten Hag inners. It just keeps rolling game to game at the moment. And the reason it keeps rolling game to game at the moment is because there is no momentum. There is no rhythm to what we're doing. But this game's absolutely massive. And I would love to look at it and go, yeah, we're in a position where we can win it. And I think we can. But he's got to get his team right. And he's got to show a vision of what his best 11 is as well. I mean, not having a left back is not really been mentioned, has it, again, for 24 hours, but it's still a massive problem. You look at the Spurs side, Brennan Johnson's actually done quite well at the moment. I mean, Spurs, look, one thing I did want to mention as well is that Spurs are playing tonight. So keep an eye on Spurs tonight. They're playing the Qarabag at home. Be interesting to see just what team he puts out for that, because I would imagine there's a chance that it'll go quite strong. I don't think it's going to make a massive difference playing Thursday, Sunday this early in the season, but it's a slight advantage, I suppose, that we're at home and we've played a day earlier. But looking at the team he picked against Brentford, Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie, that's their best back five. He had Kulusevski, Bentancur and Maddison in the midfield, and then Brennan Johnson, Solanke and Son in the team. It's very similar to what they did against Arsenal at home, where basically in their midfield three, they've got two attackers, and then they've got three attackers in their front three as well. So Son, Solanke, Johnson, and then Kulusevski and Maddison in there as well. I just wonder whether that might be a little bit of a temptation for Ten Hag to go, wow, they've got two attackers in their midfield, so I'm going to do it as well. I'm going to do Mainu, Eriksen and Bruno. But, you look at that, Bentancur's quite physical, Kulusevski's very physical, Maddison's probably middle of the road. Where's our physicality coming from? Because I don't see it with Eriksen, Bruno and Mainu. I think you need a bit of physicality in there for me. But look, there's every chance that's the midfield that we'll see. And if we do see that midfield, they've got to play absolutely perfect, because it's the area that worries me the most, how we approach the game. Noah says Ahmad has to start. Every time he goes off, we lose all threat from the wing. Rasmus isn't ready. His touch is rusty. Bruno has to be dropped though, says Noah. Noah, I don't think you're listening, are you? You've expressed your opinion, but I don't think you listened to what I said. We're playing a team with a high line, and we need to get in behind. Is that what Xerxes does? That's why I said I'd pick Rasmus. Rusty or not, I would be looking to play somebody who can run in behind centrally. And I don't think we've seen... Well, look, maybe Xerxes can do it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't seen that mobility over 2 yards from Xerxes yet. We saw it yesterday with that cross from Rashford. He just didn't get there quick enough. And that's what we need. We need someone playing on the last man. I like Xerxes when he drops in and links up the play. But in a game like this, that would be really naive because their line is so high. You want to be trying to get in behind it. What about possibility of Mount and Bruno false nine? Oh, God. Patrick, I'm not oh-godding you. I'm oh-godding the fact that you've probably just nailed it. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I would not be surprised, actually, in this game if he puts Mount and Bruno and Eriksen and Mainu. I wouldn't be surprised if he did it. Patrick might have just dropped the biggest mic ever. I would not be surprised. I completely forgot about this at the start of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if he did it. I wouldn't be surprised if he went back to Fulham and put Bruno and Mount in this fucking weird front two thing. Against the team with a high line, let's play two lads who've got no pace. I would not be surprised. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't go anywhere near it. I think it's stupidity. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did it because he seemed to quite like it at the start of the season. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong here, but when you're playing a team with a high line like Spurs, the best thing you can do is have somebody who can run in behind it. I feel if we started Garnacho, Højlund, Ahmad with Bruno, and I think we've done that from Jack. He said, I feel if we started Garnacho, Højlund, Ahmad with Bruno dropped and Xerxes in, we'd have more success in the final third, being more direct. Yeah, I think we did read that. Let me just get rid of you. God, it's toxic day every day at the moment, isn't it? But we'll get rid of him, don't worry. So Xerxes not that fast, says Vasi. He doesn't look super fast to me, whereas I think Rasmus and Rashford have got more sprint ability, which I think is going to be important in this game. I hope that we don't concede possession and play counter-attack, because the problem with that is if we win the game counter-attacking, the critics will quite rightly say, well, we saw this with Solskjaer. Solskjaer did this against Man City and top teams. He soaked up the pressure and countered. We're meant to be seeing a style of play, and I think that's the catch-22, is that, yeah, if we concede possession and counter, what happened to what we did last week against Palace then? Are we just abandoning philosophy for results? But if we go for possession, we might not get it. They might be better than us, in which case you end up with a team like that on the pitch defending a lot. The last thing I want to do is see Man United defending a lot with Eriksen, Mainu and Bruno in the midfield, because you've got the wrong tools for the job there, I think. Sean says Mark is happy Man United is in a shambles. Oh yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that people who watch this channel for the last 10 years can really buzz off the enthusiasm and excitement I have at the moment. Having, really, really hoped that this season was going to be a bit different. Getting in behind is open, yes, but Xerxes helps with that. He checks to pull centre-backs, leaving space for the wingers. With your three all run away, so no control, says Noah. Yeah, I don't understand what you're talking about, Noah. With your three all run away, so no control. Yeah, that still doesn't make any sense. How has signing a left-back not been mentioned more? It's stupid, says Fat. We've mentioned it pretty much every day for the last 8 months, mate. Dalot versus Kulusevski will be interesting, says P-Bugs. Kulo always makes an inside move and it's dangerous when it works. It won't be Kulusevski against Dalot because they've been playing Brennan Johnson on the wing and Kulusevski in the midfield recently. Am I the only one feeling as if Bruno might give us an 80 million in the summer? Don't think he'll survive under Ineos if he continues playing this way, says Roshi. I don't think anyone's going to pay £80 million for a 30-year-old either. Højlund, Xerxes, Rashford, Garnacho, Agate, Mainu, Dalot, Maguire. I don't know what, that's just a list. Abs. We need to go head-to-head, says Terp. Bruno was terrible last night and now he's all right, says Warren G. We did it in the FA Cup final with Bruno and McTominay, says Linus. Yes. But you know what? Fair play to Patrick saying he might play Mount in the 9 role. But if he does do that, I'm confused. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not in a good mood around United at the moment. I'm not in a good mood. I feel very, very down. I feel very, very confused. And I'm just fed up of it at the moment, to be honest with you. I'm definitely not Ten Hag out. You can be fed up and not have, burn the world down. I'm just not understanding what we're doing at the moment. And I think last night's result was a real... I know it was only a draw, but it was like... I sort of said after the Palace game, although the result wasn't what I wanted, I'm going to take the positives from the performance. And then you play your next game and there's no performance and no result. So against Palace, I'm like, really good performance, but we didn't get the result. I'll live off the performance. Last night, I'm like, didn't get the performance, didn't get the result. So we're taking a step back again, aren't we? And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of little steps forward and then big steps back. And I genuinely, on score prediction, I'm going to say, I can't say what I really want to say. I'm going to go draw. I'm going to go with a draw, but I'm very worried about this. I think Spurs come with a rhythm, a tempo, and a work ethic. God knows what we're going to go. It's like flipping a coin. You never know what Man United you're going to get. We need a better manager, says Jake, and Erik Ten Hag will be gone after the Villa away unless he scams are winning those games like he usually does, says Johan. Why would it be a scam? Why would it be a scam? Grow up. It doesn't matter who you drop. The team has no athletes. It has no players who are strong and athletic. We are the softest midfield in the league. Facts, says Chico. Actually, I think factually, we're a lot more physical this season than we were last year. Mister says, why can't you just admit that you were wrong? Erik ten Hag out. Mate, I've got no problem with admitting when I got something wrong, but I'm not going to admit that. And if you look, I wasn't planning on doing this, but you know, to any simpleton out there, of which there seems to be quite a lot, if you're asking me, do I regret backing Erik ten Hag after the FA Cup final? No, I don't, because that was May and this is September, and anybody can be a genius in hindsight. So take me back to May when we've just won the FA Cup. We're 2 years in, and I still believe that when a guy's won an FA Cup against Man City, against the best team in the league, and we deserve to win, and there's been chaos all season, I want to know what year 3 is. I said that at the time. I say it again now. I wouldn't change my opinion. The only thing that would change my opinion is hindsight, and we don't live in hindsight. We live in reality. I wanted Ten Hag to get a third year because we'd just won the FA Cup against the best side. We'd just had a horrible season where you couldn't make head and a tail out of anything, and I wanted a proper structure above a manager for the first time ever, and I wanted to see what was going to happen. That's what I voted for, and I wouldn't change my mind. I'm not change. You can't do that. You can't go, this is my reasons for things, but I'm going to say I was wrong then. I wasn't wrong in May. Ask me now what I think. Well, I've got evidence, haven't I? But what the decision I made, I don't run away from my decisions. If you want to do that in your life, fine. You know, absolutely fine. There's plenty of people like that who flip-flop and pretend and change and everything like that. But I'm not admitting I was wrong. We just won the FA Cup. We'd had a horrible season with loads of stuff going on. We had a new structure, and I wanted to see what year 3 was all about. But what I did say is, and I'll get you the receipts if you want them, what I did say is, it might not work in year 3, but at least I'll have the proper evidence to go, we gave him a fair chance. And I said that. I said, look, if it goes wrong in year 3, then he'll have to go, won't he? But at least we'll know. Getting rid of him after winning the FA Cup final, I don't think the evidence was there. So I don't regret it, no. And I wasn't wrong. No, I don't accept it. And I think everybody who wanted Ten Hag out at that point was guessing, to be honest with you, because we just won an FA Cup final. But that's my opinion. But I'm not in any way, shape or form going to condemn what I was saying back in May with hindsight in September. And even now, I'm not Ten Hag out. So do I think we might be on the pathway to it? Well, I said that after the Brighton game. Am I completely and utterly confused by what we're doing? Yes. But if we beat Spurs on Sunday, that flip-flop thing will flip the other way. I'm fully aware of how modern society works. You know, one bad result, you're sacking your manager. One good result is the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, look at Spurs. Spurs lost to Arsenal. People were ringing up saying sack Ange. Idiots. Spurs have actually played well this season. They just haven't got the points they deserve. So, yeah, I'm sorry to answer that, but sometimes you get a simpleton in the chat who doesn't understand people make decisions based on situations. The issue I have with United at the moment is watching teams like Twente come to Old Trafford and show more passion and desire. Well, it's a very good point, Amir. I wouldn't do Bruno false 9, just think he might do it as he's done it before. No, Patrick, I completely understood it. I know what you're saying. You're saying that he might do it. I'd prefer a focal point up top as well. I agree with you that as well. Let's say we sack Ten Hag. What next? Another rebuild? We've seen this movie so many times, says Ankit. Some people just want to see the world burn. Some people just want a shiny new toy. Yeah. Johannes says, you weren't Ollie out when everyone else was Ollie out. What's the point of delaying the inevitable? Can we just go back to the previous point, the cycle? You know, at some point, the cycle's got to be broken, hasn't it? Look, I was late with Ollie. I was late with Mourinho. I'll be late with Ten Hag. I'm comfortable with that because I think with all three of those, I really wanted it to work and wanted to give it every chance to work. I remember with Mourinho, people wanted him sacked in the March. I wasn't Mourinho out until the October. Were the people who wanted him sacked in March right? No, I don't think they were. They predicted the right outcome, but I felt that Mourinho deserved another summer and another chance, and we gave it him, and he didn't take it, and he got the sack, and I agreed with that. But I wouldn't have sacked him in the March. That's my point. If we end up with him with Ten Hag being sacked, I still don't think the people who wanted him sacked in May are right. I just think that they guessed right. I think he's deserved the third year. If he fucks it up, I can't defend him, really. Ten Hag doesn't help himself with some of his decisions. We want to support him, but he makes it hard. Look, I suppose if I'm trying to spin a positive here, and it's very hard to spin a positive, if we go and win a game at Old Trafford against Spurs on Sunday, then everything becomes positive again. I'm just admitting at the moment, I just feel quite deluded and low about what's happening at my football club. But it's nothing new. The challenge is for the players and the manager to deliver at Old Trafford, which, to be honest with you, when you listen to that back, how hard is that? You know, we're not playing Arsenal, we're not playing Liverpool, we're not playing Man City. We're playing a team that we're competing with, supposedly, for top 4, and they're coming to our ground. We should be winning this game. Absolutely, we should be winning this game. You know, I don't want to hype pressure, but it's all right me saying I'm not confident and I feel quite low. Oh, you know what? Taking emotion away from it, we should bloody win this game. 100% we should be winning it. And that's the challenge, isn't it? Can the players turn up? The fans will turn up. You know, no one's going to we're not writing them off. You've got to go and perform. Sometimes we have in these situations, sometimes we haven't. Let me just tell you, there is a press conference with Ten Hag today as well. It's not pre-recorded from last night. He's actually doing a Carrington press conference this evening, so we'll be reacting to that on the 8 o'clock show later as well. We will see you then. Sorry, everybody, for being a bit down, but, you know, sometimes you just got to wear your heart on your sleeve, haven't you? And I just feel a bit down about United at the moment. I just want these players to shut everyone up, says Trey. I agree. Humphrey says Eric should stay or leave based on the performance he puts on the pitch, not because of a cycle or because we don't want another rebuild, says Humphrey. Okay, who made you the CEO? No, but seriously, Eric should stay or leave based on the performance he puts on the pitch, not because of a cycle. We don't want another rebuild. Yeah, mate, that's what fans are saying. I don't think Sir Jim Radcliffe's going to sit there going, well, at the end of the day, I know we've just lost 10-0 to Spurs, but we can't continue on this cycle. We don't want another rebuild. So, you know, let's lose to Villa 6-0. We're still not going to change it. Of course, Sir Jim Radcliffe is going to do it on performance, mate. As a fan, you can sit there and say, I'm tired of this cycle. I don't want another rebuild. But we all know if the results go badly, then we will be having another cycle and we will be having another rebuild. I don't think it's even a relevant point, Humphrey. It's a fan thing to say, I don't want another rebuild. I don't want to go around on this cycle again. But we know we will do if the results go bad. Of course we will. I'm working on my own YouTube channel. Any tips to get it off the ground, says Amir. Mate, do you want the honest answer or do you want the nice answer? The honest answer is, good luck. There's fucking hundreds of them all doing the same thing. The nice answer is, enjoy it. That's the main thing. And if you do it and enjoy it, then that's the main thing. Probably wasn't the stream to ask me, really. Talking about something uplifting, by the way, if you want to see Happy Bridge, Escapist Bridge, then you can check out my United Stand career mode, which has just dropped today. The link is in the live chat. It's escapism. It's pure escapism. And, you know, God, does some of us need that at the moment? So check that out. Art and Travel says, geez, mate, do you come here for honesty or do you come here for, you know, to have your car washed? It's true. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. And I'm just going to go for another long walk. I'm just fed up at the moment. See you in a bit.